Hey, you guys. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. We're going to be talking about former Teen Mom star Kail Lowry. She revealed on her podcast today, I think it actually went out today or it may have went out a couple of days ago. I heard it today. I saw the news today that Kail Lowry is giving us an update on her son, Rio, that there has been this medical misdiagnosis that has her scared. And it actually is pretty scary. We're going to get into it, you guys, because Kail Lowry was told some time ago that her son had a hernia, and it seems that it was a misdiagnosis, and it could be something terrifying. They cannot rule out that it is a cancerous lump in her son's stomach. So I'm going to read a part of the article from the Ashley's Reality Roundup, and then we're going to listen to Kail talk about this in her own words on her podcast. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. So the Ashley Realities Roundup put up an article, and it says Kail Lowry reveals her son Rio has a lump that was misdiagnosed and now needs a biopsy and surgery. And Kel says that she has mom guilt because she did not get a second opinion. That he had the slump, it got worse, it grew, it got bigger, and she did not get a second opinion for some time. And then when she got a second opinion, the doctor immediately felt it and said, "This is not a hernia." Like the doctor knew immediately upon touching the lump on her son's stomach that it was not. And I don't think Kale's automatically assuming cancer. If you listen to what she says, and we are going to listen to it, it's not her first thing. She just talks about how on his chart, she read on his chart that it said it could not be ruled out. So I don't think she's going straight to that. I just think she's bringing up like that's scary. And she is urging other parents to not make the same mistake. To say, like, if you have, if one of your children have an issue, have a lump or something, get a second opinion. Don't wait a year or 6 months, because the doctor told you something. It's okay to get a second opinion because if it is something dangerous, if it is something like a cancerous lump, you've waited 6 months, which I mean, we all, most people trust their doctors when you go to your doctor and you show them something on your child and they say, oh, yeah, this is X, Y, and Z. Well, you believe them. They are the professionals. They, uh, supposed to know what they're talking about. So you believe what they say. But Kale said as time passed, it got bigger. And there was a time that he said that it hurt. So she got a second opinion. So she just urges people to go with your gut. And if you feel like you need a second opinion, absolutely do that. Absolutely. Yeah. Early intervention, prevention. I mean, early intervention can be life saving if you find something early enough. So, all right, let's continue reading this. It says Kail Lowry reveals her son Rio has a lump that was misdiagnosed and now needs a biopsy and surgery. She says she has a mom guilt. Kail Lowry is opening up about a scary medical issue that her son is experiencing after being misdiagnosed by doctors. The former Teen Mom 2 star recently posted a photo of herself with her 2-year-old son Rio, whom she shares with her ex fiance Elijah Scott. They were at the doctor while Rio received an ultrasound. The photo caused her followers to wonder why the toddler needed the ultrasound. And Kail revealed during her latest episode of Coffee Convos podcast what is actually going on with her son. Kail, who is the mother of 6 sons and 1 daughter, revealed last year that Rio began to develop a lump under his belly button. It's actually above his belly button, which she and apparently Rio's doctor assumed was a small hernia. All right, so we're going to jump over and we're going to listen to the podcast really quickly. And I'll show you guys really quickly again what this looks like. There it is right there. So you can see the lump. It's a little bit above his belly button and it is poking out more than, I know people that have had hernias in their belly button. So I don't think that's too outlandish of a thought, like, oh, a hernia close to the belly button, in the belly button. I think that can be somewhat of a normality for, that happens. So I don't know if it's just like normal for hernias to come around the belly button. I've heard of several people having them in their belly button. But this is it. This is what she shared publicly to show this is what it looks like. Now we're going to listen to Kail in her own words talk about what's been going on. So we're going to jump over to her podcast really quickly. And this is Coffee Convos with Lindsay, who now goes by Lindsay Landsman, I think. She didn't get married, but she took on Lindsay Chrisley has dropped the last name Chrisley, and she has taken on her boyfriend's name. Her boyfriend of like 7 months. She's taken on his name. All right, you guys, let me know if you can hear this. Actually, let me make sure I'm sharing this in the correct way so you guys can hear it. All right, you guys should be able to hear it this way. All right.
But that reminded me of what I wanted to tell you about taking Rio to the doctor. So last year, I had someone come to the house to do the ISR swimming lessons, right? Try to follow the bouncing ball here. For anyone listening, maybe you guys can relate. And I'm going to make a short story long because I want to give you background. Loved the swimming lessons. It really, for us, like, Creed can swim without a life vest at this point. Not saying that I let him do that, but he can. Rio can too. However, that being said, he developed what I thought was like a little hernia above his belly button. And I thought it was from the ISR swim lessons because he has to roll over and float on his back. And so I thought the stress of that created this like little lump that looked like a hernia. So last year I took him to the doctor and they were like, oh, like it's fine. It'll resolve itself. It's not a big deal. Send him on his way.
I am curious though, do hernias resolve themselves? Because like the people that I know that had them, I think they ended up having to have surgery. So anybody familiar with like if a hernia will resolve itself? I mean, I guess maybe it could. I'm not a doctor. You guys let me know if you have dealt with a hernia and if it will resolve itself.
And we'll figure it out. Cool, no problem. This year, over the past couple of weeks, I've noticed this protruding out of his abdomen. And I'm going to send you a picture because I want to get your reaction to it.
Oh my goodness.
Do you see it?
Yeah.
And in the one, if you zoom in, it sort of looks.
So the picture that she sent Lindsay was the one that we were just looking at itself. And I did look it up and it says hernias generally do not go away on their own and typically require surgery. While some hernias may not cause immediate symptoms, they tend to worsen over time, potentially leading to complications like strangulation. Like what? A hernia occurs when a weakness in the muscle wall allows tissue or an organ to push through. This structural defect doesn't resolve on its own and often requires surgical intervention to repair the muscle. See, I know 2 people that had them and they both had surgery. So I didn't know if it was something that listen, Google saying you usually need surgery, but I'm sure it probably depends on like location and stuff. Like maybe they can at times, but maybe generally they need to be removed via surgery.
Looks discolored a little bit. It looks like the one that's like more front on. And I'll post these on the stories because.
Okay, I found something that makes more sense. It says some hernias may be reducible, meaning they will push back in. But they're still there. They just kind of go back in, I guess. They still become stuck, or the blood supply is still cut off. The blood supply will still stay cut off if left untreated. Surgical repair involves pushing the protruding tissue back into place and reinforcing the weakened muscle wall.
It's like darker around that area.
Yeah. So I was like, I text Elijah. I'm like, hey, I gotta call the pediatrician and get him in for this because like at this point, I don't know what it is worse than it was last year. So we go to the pediatrician and the pediatrician is like, this is not a hernia. I'm going to get you in for ultrasound ASAP, or I think she said stat. So I was like, okay. They call me. They're like, we have an opening at 12:45. So we go to the pediatrician and then we go over to ultrasound. And then the ultrasound came back and they're like, this is definitely not a hernia. So this is what showed up on the ultrasound. And I got the notes that came with it. I'm like, okay, so will someone call me with the results or whatever? And the tech was like, oh, I don't know if they'll call you, but it will be in your like online chart, whatever. So no one has read me to this day, like right now, as I'm telling you this, no one has read me the results. Nobody has read me what this means. And so on the like chart thing that I logged into, it says, reniform nodule in the area of interest consistent with lymph node. The differential include granuloma or complex cyst. Neoplasia cannot be excluded. And neoplasia is a tumor.
Mm-hmm.
So that cannot be excluded. And obviously, as a mom, the first thing that my stomach sunk, and I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean it cannot be excluded? And then it says options are clinical follow-up or tissue diagnosis, which I think a tissue diagnosis would be a biopsy.
I think she's correct in that. And neoplasia is an abnormal mass of tissue that forms when cells grow and divide more than they should. They do not die when they should. It can be benign, not cancerous. It can be cancerous. And the only way to find out, I think, is having a biopsy, I do believe.
Which is fine. My aunt is a pathologist in Pennsylvania. I texted it to her and she told me, she was like, if they're going to sedate him to do a biopsy, have them just remove the whole thing.
That's what I would do.
So that's what we're going to do. But I'm waiting actually I have to call general surgery to make an appointment with them to have them look at it. I say all this to say, when it comes to your health, check everything out, because I really thought it was a hernia this whole time. They told me it was going to resolve itself. I didn't ask for a second opinion. And always just, if you have access to medical treatment or care, like go check it out, because now I'm like mom guilt. And then also just like the fact that neoplasia cannot be ruled out just freaked me out. As a parent, you want to set your kids up for success.
That is pretty crazy that nobody's called her. The doctor's not called her back to give the results of the ultrasound when it's saying that can't be ruled out. I mean, I don't know if an ultrasound would be able to rule it out, or if it would need like a CT scan to know for sure, or a biopsy to know for sure. But the fact that it's even a slight possibility, I'm like, when did you go for the ultrasound? How long has it been? And why has the doctor not called you to be like, hey, here's the results? But she says that the chart says that is a nodule in the area of interest it's a nodule in the area of interest consistent with a lymph node, which we have lymph nodes. But my thing is, like, if it's swollen, if that is a lymph node, why is it protruding like that? Why is it swollen? That doesn't make any sense either, for it to even be a lymph node to be protruding like that. It says the differential includes granuloma or complex cyst. Neoplasia cannot be excluded. In neoplasia, that is a tumor. Benign or not, it's a tumor. So that's the next step, is figuring out if it is a cancerous tumor or if it's just a swollen lymph node or whatever. But Kail says the next step for Rio is to get a biopsy done. And if they do take the route of a biopsy, she's going to ask them just to remove it rather than going in there and just taking a piece of it. Just go in there and remove the whole thing. She said that's what they're going to do. She advised her listeners to investigate deeper when it comes to medical issues, especially concerning their kids. She said, when it comes to your health, check everything out, because I really thought it was a hernia this whole time. And they told me it was going to resolve itself. I didn't ask for a second opinion. Now I have mom guilt. The fact that neoplasia cannot be ruled out, it just has me freaking out. And I don't blame her there. Where are my notes? I don't blame her there. It would definitely have me freaking out, which I'm kind of one of those moms. Like, if a doctor even so much as mentions something, I'm like, what did you say? What do you mean? No way. You know what I'm saying? Okay, we're going to skip a little bit ahead where they
responsible for teaching them.
K12.com/Coffee Convos today to find
talk a little bit more about this, and then we'll just discuss in the chat.
million families who have been served by K12 and empower your student to reach their full potential now. Go to K12.com/Coffee Convos today to find a tuition-free K12 powered school near you and enroll now. That's
just an ad, you guys. Sorry. It's hard to like hone in on the exact timestamp.
Letter K, the number 12.com/Coffee Convos. K12.com/Coffee Convos. I mean, I will say, you don't know anything, and it's easier said than done when you're a mom or a parent. Something involving your kids makes you freak out.
Yeah.
Even if it, worst case scenario, it is a tumor, it could be benign.
1000%.
But as a mom, I don't know if you're the same. I always think of worst case scenario. Like I am very much a, what do you call it? A pessimist? Like pessimist.
Realist. I feel like a lot of people will see it as a pessimist. I don't.
Remember way back when I told you about molluscum?
Yes.
And it was like those growths, and I saw it in Jackson's hair. Like I didn't see it anywhere else. It was just like in his head. And the way that I mentally could not even operate until I could get him to the pediatrician, and then they referred him to the dermatologist to get rid of it. I was so afraid that it was like mini tumors everywhere.
No, but I get it. It's like your mind just goes there. It's just as a mom, that's where your mind goes.
But now looking back on it, I'm like, that's so insane for me to like make my mind believe that these were mini tumors because it all came on so fast. And it's weird. You said that it was like one size and then now it's a different size. Do you think that it could be potential because he's growing?
I don't know, because before it was more like a lump. Now it's like an actual hard, round, firm ball.
I was going to ask you that. Is it like jelly-like or hard?
No. Like as soon as the pediatrician felt it, she was like, this is not a hernia. Like she knew right off the bat.
Because I had a hernia after I had Jackson, and I feel like those are very easily diagnosed, and they're kind of, I don't want to like give anybody the ick, but it's kind of like squishy to the touch.
Oh, okay. Yeah, his is firm, like it's hard.
Yeah. I will say I'm glad that it's not an umbilical hernia because that's the worst surgery that I've ever had.
You had that surgery?
Umbilical hernia surgery? Yeah. After I had Jackson.
That's what I thought it was. I thought it was an umbilical hernia. Like, I'll post it for you guys. Maybe somebody who has gone through this, or maybe their toddler. I'm not just, what is the word I'm looking for? Like a PSA. I'm not trying to like exploit my child. Nobody has called me. Like, I called and left a message for the pediatrician, and she was like, you have to go through general surgery. Like, you have to get a consult with them. She was, and I'm not worried. I'm not saying like I think it's cancer or anything. I'm just like, I've never seen anything like this, and nobody has, like, no radiologist or doctor has called me to read the notes that are in his MyChart.
That's what's weird to me.
So that was another point that I was going to make. The MyChart things are terrifying because used to back in the day when you went and had labs or whatever test done, either a nurse or the doctor would pick up the phone and call. Now, because you have access to these labs online, they basically upload them when they receive them. And it could be a week before they ever even call. And you're sitting there WebMDing all of this shit, or chat GPT this shit, and freaking yourself the fuck out.
Yeah. 1,000%. 1,000%.
Kristen said that she never got called back from Penn about her MRIs that confirmed her MS.
Yep.
That is insanity.
I knew that. And it's fucked up because you'll sit here and Google and you're like, what am I supposed to do? Like, when I got those results in the MyChart, I'm like Googling.
So someone that works for Kail was tested for MS, and they never called her back to let her know that she had MS. It was just in her MyChart. So that's how it was confirmed. Wow, that's insanity. I would definitely be switching doctors if it was confirmed I had MS, but my doctor did not even call me to be like, just so you know, we tested you for this and you do in fact have it. I would definitely be switching it quickly.
Okay, what does a cyst look like on ultrasound versus a hernia versus a tumor? Like, I'm looking up pictures of the ultrasounds to sort of see, and I could tell, it doesn't take rocket science to figure out, okay, the hernia on the ultrasound looks nothing like this.
Right.
And it didn't. It looks nothing like what he has. And so I wish, and I asked, and I'm not blaming the the ultrasound tech, because I know that they're not doctors and they're not allowed to tell me, but I was like, is that like what we're looking at? And she's like, I'm just taking pictures. I can't tell you. And I'm like, okay, I just wanted to make sure like that sac thing is in fact what I thought was a hernia. And so is
it painful for him or no?
What is it?
Like when you touch it, is it painful to him or no?
He said yes one time, and then the other times he says no.
Okay. That's just so interesting that it grew like that.
Isn't that scary?
Kail, it's terrifying. Anything that involves your children that feels like an abnormal situation is terrifying.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But I also agree that if he's going under, you need to just have it all completely removed, because then you'll have to have it done again if the pathology comes back on it that it needs to be removed. Like, why not just skip the step?
Right.
I agree. And just remove it all
He's 2.5. He'll be 3 in November.
together. I feel so bad because I'm like, it wasn't a big deal last year. Like, it just didn't last summer when I noticed it was like a little bump, sort of.
Yeah.
So I
Long
didn't
guilt is the worst.
Yeah, it's horrible. And he doesn't complain about it ever, but it's so funny because he's big on stranger danger. Like, he's not.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like, he won't fuck with you if he doesn't know you. And so when I knew that they were getting us into the pediatrician and then also to
Sorry
the
about the language,
ultrasound,
guys.
I was trying to like prep him before, like, the doctor's going to look at your hernia. Because hold on. I have a video of him I was giving the twins a bath and he comes up to me and
Wow, Samantha, thank you so much for the super chat. Samantha said, I had an enlarged lymph node, and after months of tests, it turned out to be something called Castleman disease. I wonder if he could have something rare like that. Super scary stuff when it's unknown. Wow, I've never heard of that, Samantha, but now I want to look into that. Thank you so much for your comment and the super chat. Thank you.
he's pointing at it and I'm like, what is it? And he's like, a hernia. Hold on. Here it is. It's a little hernia. Yeah. Does it hurt? So he's like, it's a little hernia, a little boo-boo. So then from that, when I knew that we were going to go have it looked at and he doesn't fuck with the doctors, I had to like tell him like, oh, you're going to show the hernia to the doctors. And then when we were doing the ultrasound, she like stepped out to go get another nurse, which freaked me out because when they bring somebody else in.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And so he lifts up my shirt and he goes, show him your hernia. And I'm like, I have a hernia.
That's the cutest thing in the world. I love his little voice and how raspy it is, but that raspiness has to come from somewhere from your side because it's different dads.
Different dads, and him and Creed both have it.
It's so crazy, but also I could see why Rio would be like a stranger danger because I feel like that's Elijah's personality.
Hey, Crispy Treat.
1000%. And he does not fuck with people he doesn't know. And it's so funny because I'm like, Rio and Valley are Elijah molded over. But Valley's so sassy. So sassy.
Wait, Rio and Valley have Elijah's personality?
No, they have like stranger danger.
Okay, so that's basically her discussing that, for a while, it popped up. She takes him to the doctor like she should, takes him to the doctor, and it's like, oh, swollen lymph node, not a big deal. No, hernia, sorry. I don't know where I got swollen lymph node. Not a big deal. It's just a hernia. It'll go away on its own, which literally from what I'm reading, it says online, this is Google, but Google says they don't generally go away on their own. Like I said, I know 2 people that had them and both of them had surgery. So I guess maybe some some will go back in. So it appears as if they went away on their own. Umbilical hernias in small children often resolve themselves, Reagan says. So, yeah, but either way, she said it continued to grow, get bigger, and she decided to get a second opinion where obviously they had, and the doctor immediately was like, that's not what it is. This is not a hernia. We need an ultrasound. So at this point, she is still waiting for the doctor to even call her back with the results from the ultrasound, but she already knows what it states. Like I said, I'll repeat myself, but the chart says it's a nodule in the area of interest consistent with a lymph node. The differential includes granuloma, or complex cyst, and neoplasia cannot be excluded. Neoplasia would be a tumor, but it could be benign, it could be malignant, so it could be cancerous or not cancerous. And the only way for them to figure that out would be to do a biopsy. And Kail's already made the decision that once they ask to do the biopsy, she will ask them to go ahead and just remove whatever it is. Because here's the thing, if they do the biopsy, if they go in, they're going to have to put him to sleep. They're going to have to put him to sleep. to even do the biopsy. So why not just go ahead and remove it? They can still do the biopsy. They can still send it to the lab to figure out what it was. But if they don't take it all out and they just take a piece of it and they send it off and it is something that needs to be removed, well, then he's going to have to go under again. And he's only 2.5. And I know like the doctors that I'm familiar with, they really don't like putting babies, toddlers to sleep like under anesthesia. I know there's one doctor I know for sure that if you're like under the age of 1, it has to be something very serious or he will wait. My son Dakota, like he had when he was born, like we knew he required surgery and they was like, we will not do his surgery until after he turns 1 for sure because they don't like putting babies under anesthesia. So if he has to go under, might as well do it the one time, take it out, and then she can figure out what it is. But I am like kind of side eyeing the fact that they uploaded this information to his My Chart and they haven't called her to give her the results. Like, how long has it been? She didn't say, but I'm curious. How long has it been? Because if my doctor's not calling me back in a week, 2 weeks, like I'm definitely like calling you and gonna be like, listen, y'all have had these results for 2 weeks. This is my child. And while I can see them online, I can see them on his My Chart. I still don't know. Like, I would like to talk to you guys about it. You know, Spike said, wonder if it's a hernia. Well, that's what Dr. One said that it was a hernia, but it continued to grow. And she went back for a second opinion. And the second doctor, immediately upon seeing it, touching it, said that was not a hernia and had an ultrasound. And the ultrasound doesn't say that it's a hernia. It just says that it could be like a swollen lymph node, yeah, or it could be some sort of tumor. They actively avoid it. It's not like normal sleep. They have to get you pretty close to a long nap. Kids can get crash fast if the doctor does anything wrong. So I wanted to just kind of look up about cancerous lumps. The consistency of a cancer tumor can vary depending on the type of cancer and its stage of development. So hard tumors, most types of cancerous tumors, such as lipomas, breast cancer, and sarcomas, feel hard to the touch. Sarcomas? I'm not for sure what that is. They are hard to the touch. They may be fixed in place and difficult to move. Soft tumors, some type of cancer, such as leukemia and lipoma, can feel soft or spongy. They may also be movable. Cysts, these are non-cancerous growths. They can feel soft and squishy, and they may contain fluid or other material. I mean, honestly, like best case scenario might would be that it's just like a cyst that's grown, you know, and when they do the surgery, it's removed, and they just come back and say, "Oh, it's just a cyst. He's fine." I feel like that would be like best case scenario, right? Because if it's a swollen lymph node, like what caused the lymph node to swell to that degree? There's got to be something causing that. But if it's a cyst, then I mean, cysts just grow in all kind of random places. I feel like, and it is usually most of the time can be nothing to it. My husband said that looks like my dad's hernia. They're saying it's not a hernia. The second doctor said it's not a hernia, so I don't know. First doctor says hernia, second doctor says not a hernia. And the ultrasound did not say hernia. So I guess at this point, it's just kind of a waiting game for Kail until they do the biopsy and she hears back from them in regards to the biopsy. But that is, oh my, y'all look how cute this kid is. Look at him. First off, I gotta go back because Kail has this wagon that I definitely needed back in the day. Let me see if I can find it. She was like in town and she got her kids out and she put them all in this wagon. It's like a stroller wagon. They're in it right there, but I want to show you guys the video of her. Like, okay, there's Valley. So look at this. Oh my goodness, Sean, we definitely needed this when we were, having all of our babies. Look how stinking cute. Oh my goodness, look how cute. I don't know where they were going, but she would definitely need something like that for them kids. Because like I know back when I had a bunch of babies, like you were lucky to find like a 2-seat stroller, and they were expensive. I did have one, but they were expensive. But I definitely needed like a 3-seat or something. Look at this. He's like, wait for me. Oh my goodness, so cute. And that's one of the twins, I do believe. Why does she never show Creed? I feel like she shows him, but I've seen a lot of people say that. I've seen a lot of people say that she doesn't show Rio very much. I don't know. So I'm not sure. I have no idea. And I don't know why that ad is playing. But I've seen a lot of people say that she doesn't show Rio. I've seen people say that the reason she doesn't show Rio is because Rio doesn't belong to Elijah. Listen, this is not truth. This is rumors that I hear. So I don't want to see you guys over on Reddit and be like, Elle Bee said that Rio ain't even Elijah's, that he belong. I'm not saying that. I don't know this to be true. I just know I keep up with these people, and I've seen a lot of times people say she rarely shows Rio. It's because Rio belongs to Malik, her ex. I don't know if he does or not. I don't know if she rarely shows him. And yeah, I don't think she's doing this for attention. I mean, this is actively happening in her life. It's not like she planned this. It's not like she took a picture of her child and edited this bump in his stomach. Any mother's going to be concerned about this, especially with taking him to the hospital and the doctor being like, it's not what you thought it was. We need to investigate this further. And then seeing on his chart what the chart says, any mom's going to be worried about this. Any mom's going to probably talk about this on their platform if they have a platform, and she does. So I don't think this is her like, using her child for clout or anything. Kail has always talked a lot about things going on with her kids, their sports, and things like that. So I think this is just like normally what she does. This is her normal. If something happens to one of her kids, she talks about it on her podcast, and this is a pretty big deal. So she's talking about it on her podcast. I don't feel like this is like some clout thing that she's doing, or I don't think so. Crispy says, "I'll let you message on the ground." Okay, I am so behind on all my messages. If you guys have messaged me, I do apologize. Between like, there's been so much going on. I haven't even worked much because my mouth. And then I'm behind on school. So it's been a lot. But anyways, you guys, leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure you guys keep Kail and Rio in your prayers if you believe in the power of prayer. If you are, the type of person that prays, just keep them in your prayers. It's not a big deal. Okay. Okay. I'll try to check it. I got to get caught up on everything. But yeah, you guys leave me your thoughts. Like, share, subscribe, and send your prayers to Kail. And when we know more, I'll let you guys know. When Kail gives us an update, I'll be sure to do a video to update you guys on exactly what is going on. Carly says just because Creed is light doesn't mean he's not. I think Creed wants to Chris may have been. Oh yeah, I don't know. I think Chris was the one that said. I think Chris. Well, there was a video of Chris the other day saying that one of the kids is more his because he's dark. And that he's like, that's my son because he's dark like me. And then I know he was saying that like one of his kids was doing some white people stuff, and he got a lot of people were giving him a lot of backlash over that, about like, oh, he's doing white people stuff and the dark kid is more mine than the white one. I don't know. That's just he got some backlash for sure. But that's Lux. I couldn't remember. Lux was the one that he was saying was doing white people stuff. And then I think Creed was the one that he was saying was like, oh, Lux was the one that he was saying was also more his because he's darker. So yeah, it was Lux for both. He was like, Lux stuck his hand in the water or something. And he was like, oh, that's some white people stuff for you to do that. Like, black people don't do that. That's sticking your hand in the water where something could bite you or something like that along those lines. Like that's white people stuff. And then he said something about Lux being more his because Lux has his skin color. And yeah, there was a lot of people online mad about that. Paula says belly button hernias are common in babies, very common. My grandson had a big bulge, and as they grow Those muscles tighten up there. I've seen several babies with them and never looked that way. Thank you, Paula, for the comment. Okay, you guys, leave me your thoughts. Like I said, keep baby Rio in your prayers, and I will update you guys as soon as we know more about the situation. Hit that thumbs up on the way out. Follow me here if you don't already. Also, I'm everywhere. You can follow me on TikTok. You can find me over on Facebook. Tomorrow, I may do a Facebook Live when I'm getting ready for the day. Instagram, X. I am everywhere except OnlyFans. So you can find me everywhere. Follow me everywhere, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Oh, and on the way out, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Bye, guys.